stop eating carrots to save your eyesight. That is World War II propaganda, not science. While vitamin A is biologically necessary, relying on it to save your vision in the 21st century is like bringing a knife to a nuclear war. It does absolutely nothing to stop the biological rusting that is currently destroying the center of your retina. If you are over the age of 55, you have likely been told that blurring vision, difficulty reading in low light, or seeing floaters dart across your view is just a normal part of aging. You are told to accept it, get a stronger prescription, and wait for the inevitable decline. I am here to tell you that is a dangerous, complacent lie. This is not aging, this is starvation. Your eyes are not just getting old, they are suffocating. They are being structurally dismantled because their protective shield has been stripped away, exposing the most delicate, energy-hungry cells in your body to a daily bombardment of raw radiation. We call this macular degeneration and cataracts, but these are just medical labels for a mechanical failure we can address. Most people treat their eyes as a static camera lens that just wears out over time. They are wrong. Your eyes are a dynamic, living fortress that requires specific construction materials to repair the damage caused by light. Today, I am not giving you generic eat your veggies advice. We are going to rebuild your eyes' internal sunglasses. I will show you the specific chemical compounds that physically block blue light radiation and, more importantly, how to consume them so they actually reach your retina. Here is the reality. 90% of people who try to eat for eye health make one critical mistake with their salads that renders these nutrients 100% useless. They turn expensive, high-quality food into expensive waste. We are going to fix that machinery today. To understand how to save your vision, you must first understand the war zone inside your eyeball. This is not a passive organ, it is a high-performance engine. Your retina consumes more oxygen per unit of weight than almost any other tissue in your entire body, more than your brain, more than your heart. It is a metabolic furnace. But this high energy consumption comes at a terrifying price. Every single time a photon of light hits your eye, it triggers a chemical explosion to send a signal to your brain. This explosion creates exhaust fumes. In biology, we call these free radicals, or reactive oxygen species, ROS. Under normal, youthful conditions, your body has a cleaning crew that sweeps these fumes away instantly. But as we age, and more importantly, as we consume the standard industrial diet, that cleaning crew goes on strike. The exhaust fumes are not cleared, they begin to linger. And when they linger, they attack the surrounding tissue. This is where the silent thief enters. When these oxidative exhaust fumes are not neutralized, they don't just vanish, they settle. They chemically react with the fats in your eye and cement into yellow, fatty, toxic deposits called drusen. Imagine layers of rust building up inside a water pipe, slowly choking off the flow until the water stops completely. That is exactly what drusen does to your retina. It physically blocks the flow of blood, oxygen, and nutrients to your photoreceptors. The result is catastrophic. The cells in the center of your vision, the macula, the specific area responsible for seeing faces, reading text, and perceiving fine detail, begin to suffocate. They starve to death. As they die, your central vision blurs and fades into a gray smudge. This is not a symptom to be ignored or managed with stronger glasses. It is a biological emergency. The enemy is not your birthday. The enemy is oxidative stress and a systemic lack of the specific solvents required to clean up this metabolic waste. We need to reignite the cleaning crew. Here is where the investigation deepens. This is the point of failure for millions of people. You might be eating bowls of leafy greens every single day. You might be taking a multivitamin. You think you're protecting your eyes, but biologically, you are likely flushing those nutrients straight down the toilet. This is the absorption trap. The specific nutrients your eyes are screaming for, lutein and zeaxanthin, are effectively useless if you eat them wrong. These compounds are lipophilic. In simple terms, they are fat-loving. They are hydrophobic, they fear water. They cannot travel through your water-based bloodstream on their own. They require a lipid vehicle, a fat carrier, to transport them from your gut into your lymph system and finally to the eye. If you eat a dry salad because you are trying to cut calories, or if you throw raw spinach into a smoothie with just water or apple juice, your absorption rate is near zero. The medicine remains locked in the vegetable fiber, passes through your digestive tract, and exits your body. The eye itself is a fatty organ. To get the nutrients across the cellular membrane and into the macula to repair the damage, you must flip the fat switch. We aren't just adding foods to your diet, we are engineering a specific chemical reaction on your plate. If you do not pair these specific foods with the right carrier, you are wasting your time, your money, and your vision. Let's deploy our first weapon, the macula shield. We are talking about the heavy hitters, kale and spinach, but we need to radically change how you consume them. These greens contain high concentrations of lutein and zeaxanthin.
These are not just vitamins, they are carotenoid pigments. When you consume them correctly, they travel to the eye and physically accumulate in the macula. They literally turn the tissue yellow. This is a good thing. This yellow pigment acts as an internal pair of blue light blocking sunglasses. It absorbs the high-energy radiation before it can burn the photoreceptors. However, raw spinach is a trap. It is locked in a cellular cage. Spinach and kale are protected by tough cellulose walls that your human digestive system struggles to break down. Furthermore, raw spinach is high in oxalates, compounds that can bind to minerals and form kidney stones, while also blocking nutrient absorption. If you eat it raw, the lutein stays trapped inside the plant cells. To release the medicine, you must tear down the walls. You must use heat. You need to lightly steam or saute your greens. The heat breaks the cellular matrix, degrades the oxalates, and releases the pigments into a bioavailable form. And remember the absorption trap. You must cook them in a healthy fat. For the next 30 days, I want you to stop eating dry, raw spinach salads. Instead, take 2 cups of spinach or kale, saute them in a pan with high-quality avocado oil, butter, or tallow. The heat releases the nutrient, and the fat acts as the taxi to carry it into your system. We are not aiming for a garnish here. We need a therapeutic dose. You need a flood of this pigment to restore the density in your retina. Aim for 1 cup of cooked greens 3 to 4 times a week. This is how you rebuild the shield. Now, I want to shift focus to the second major threat. I want to ask you a specific question about your daily life. When you drive at night, have you noticed a halo or a starburst glare appearing around streetlights and headlights? Does the oncoming traffic blind you more than it used to? Let me know in the comments right now, has night driving become stressful or difficult for you? Do not ignore this signal. That halo is not just an annoyance. It is often the first structural sign that your lens is hardening and clouding over. This brings us to the mechanism of cataracts. While macular degeneration is about the retina rusting, oxidation, cataracts are about the lens cooking. The biological process is called glycation. Think of an egg white. When it is raw, it is clear, flexible, and transparent. But when you drop it into a hot pan, the proteins bind together, cross-link, and turn white, opaque, and rubbery. You cannot see through a cooked egg. In your eye, sugar acts like that heat. When your blood sugar is chronically elevated from soda, bread, pasta, or sweets, the glucose molecules bind to the proteins in your lens. This is a slow-motion caramelization process.
It turns the flexible, clear proteins of your lens into brittle, cloudy clumps. The enemy here is fructose and unchecked glucose. If you want to keep your lens clear, you must control your blood sugar. But we can also defend the lens with a specific chemical antagonist. To stop this caramelization of the lens, we need a powerful antioxidant that lives in the aqueous humor, the watery fluid that fills the front of your eye. The standard advice you will hear from the average doctor or magazine is eat an orange for vitamin C. I am telling you now, this is outdated, flawed, and counterproductive advice. Here is the biochemistry that most nutritionists miss. Vitamin C and glucose, sugar, are almost identical in molecular structure. Because they look so similar, they compete for the same entry doors into your cells. These doors are called GLUT receptors, glucose transporters. If you drink a glass of orange juice to get your vitamin C, you are flooding your blood with sugar. The sugar crowds the receptors, it bullies its way in and blocks the vitamin C from entering the cell. You are effectively shutting the door on the cure. You cannot fight glycation, sugar damage, with a sugar bomb. The superior choice, the true lens defender, is the red bell pepper. A red bell pepper is a nutritional powerhouse. It carries 3 times the vitamin C of an orange, but with a fraction of the sugar. This means there is no competition at the receptor site. The vitamin C can flood into the eye tissue unimpeded. Vitamin C is essential because it prevents the proteins in the lens from cross-linking. It keeps the fluid inside your eye clear and free-flowing. It stops the egg white from cooking. There is one strict rule for the red pepper. Do not cook it. Unlike the spinach, which needs heat to release its nutrients, vitamin C is heat sensitive. It is fragile. If you roast the pepper, you destroy the molecular structure of the vitamin C. You kill the medicine. Slice it raw. Eat it like an apple. Dip it in hummus or olive oil to help with other nutrients. Eat half a red pepper per day. This is your daily dose of antifreeze for the lens, keeping it clear and preventing the protein clumping that leads to cataract surgery. Now we bring in the heavy artillery. The eye has a very strict security system called the blood-retina barrier. This barrier is an evolutionary masterpiece. It is designed to keep toxins, bacteria, and viruses out of your brain and eyes. However, it is so effective that it also keeps most generic supplements out. You can take cheap antioxidants until you are blue in the face, but if they cannot cross this barrier, they never touch the retina.
We need a molecule small enough, lipophilic enough, and powerful enough to slip through the gate and work from the inside. That molecule is astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is the king of carotenoids. It is produced by microalgae as a survival mechanism against intense sunlight. It is the pigment that turns flamingos pink and gives wild salmon their reddish-orange hue. Astaxanthin is unique because its molecular shape allows it to span the entire cell membrane. It acts like a bridge, neutralizing free radicals on both the inside and outside of the cell simultaneously. It is one of the few antioxidants in existence that can cross the blood-retina barrier and enter the eye tissue directly to extinguish inflammation fires. But it cannot work alone. It needs a structural partner, omega-3 DHA. Your retina is composed of nearly 50% fat. It is not just any fat, it is specifically docahexaenoic acid, DHA. This is the structural brick and mortar of your photoreceptors. If you do not supply fresh DHA, the structure begins to collapse. The cell membranes become rigid and unable to transmit signals. You need to source wild-caught salmon or a high-quality krill or algae oil supplement. Warning, do not touch farmed salmon. This is a critical distinction. In the wild, salmon are pink because they eat krill and algae rich in natural astaxanthin. They absorb the solar protection from their food. Farmed salmon are gray. They are raised in crowded, filthy pens and fed soy and corn pellets. To make them look like salmon, the industry feeds them petrochemical dyes, literal color wheels to paint their flesh pink. This is a nutritional imposter. Farmed salmon provides zero protection for your retina and is loaded with inflammatory omega-6 fats. You need the real biological signal to resurrect the tissue.
If the package does not say wild caught, leave it in the freezer. You can eat all the wild salmon, raw red peppers, and sautéed spinach in the world, but if you make this one mistake, you are poisoning the well. You are undoing all your hard work. I am talking about industrial seed oils, soybean, canola, corn, sunflower, and cottonseed oil. These oils are the lifestyle assassin. They are high in omega-6 linoleic acid. These fats are highly unstable. When you consume them, your body has no choice but to use them to build your cell membranes. You are effectively building your eyes out of unstable materials. Think of it like building a house out of dynamite. As soon as UV light hits your eye, which happens every time you step outside, these unstable fats in your cell membranes react. They oxidize instantly. They trigger a chain reaction of free radical damage that tears apart the retina from the inside out.
The prevalence of macular degeneration has skyrocketed in perfect parallel with the introduction of these oils into the human diet. This is not a coincidence, it is biochemistry. You must purge these from your kitchen. Read every label. If your salad dressing, your mayonnaise, or your healthy crackers contain sunflower or canola oil, throw them out. They promote systemic inflammation that accelerates every eye disease we have discussed. Replace them immediately with stable ancestral fats, butter, ghee, coconut oil, tallow, or extra virgin olive oil. These fats are saturated or monounsaturated. They are stable. They resist oxidation. They act as a shield, protecting the structural integrity of your cells rather than blowing them up. Let's synthesize this into a practical daily routine. We aren't just eating food, we are executing a biological protocol. I want you to visualize your perfect vision rescue meal. The foundation, a fillet of wild-caught sockeye salmon. This provides the structural DHA to rebuild the cell walls and the astaxanthin to cross the barrier and fight inflammation. The shield, a generous portion of spinach or kale sautéed in grass-fed butter or olive oil. The heat releases the lutein, the fat carries it to the macula to rebuild your internal sunglasses. The defender, on the side, fresh, crisp slices of raw red bell pepper. This provides the bioavailable vitamin C to bathe the lens and prevent the sugar-protein cross-linking that causes cataracts. This combination covers every angle: retinal protection, lens clarity, absorption mechanics, and structural repair. The time factor. You need consistency. The eye accumulates these nutrients slowly. It is like filling a reservoir with a drip. You cannot eat this meal once and expect a miracle. It takes 3 to 6 months of consistent eating to saturate the macula pigment density to protective levels. Do not stop after a week. You are fighting decades of depletion. Which of these 3 foods, wild salmon, cooked greens, or raw red peppers, is completely missing from your diet right now? Tell me in the comments below. Identifying the gap is the first step to closing it. I want to be very clear with you. I am an advocate for your health, which means I must tell you the truth, not just what you want to hear. We cannot reverse total blindness. We cannot fix a retina that has completely detached from the back of the eye. If the tissue is dead, it is dead. But we can build a fortress around the vision you have left. We can slow the degeneration to a crawl, stabilize the condition, and maintain your independence for decades longer than the statistics predict. However, you must know the difference between chronic degeneration and an acute emergency. If you ever experience sudden, bright flashes of light, like a camera flash in a dark room, a sudden shower of new floaters, or a dark curtain or shadow falling over a part of your vision, stop eating. Go to the hospital. This is a medical emergency called retinal detachment. This requires immediate surgery, not a salad. But for the slow, chronic blur of aging, for the difficulty reading menus in dim restaurants, for the glare of headlights, you are the mechanic. You are not a victim of your genetics. You are the master of your biology. Check your multivitamin label today. Does it have lutein? Does it have zeaxanthin? Is it derived from natural sources or is it synthetic? If it doesn't have these specific compounds,
It is outdated technology. Your vision is more than just a sense. It is your independence. It is your ability to drive your car, to read your favorite books, to see the faces of your grandchildren, and to navigate the world without assistance. You must protect it ferociously. Do not let outdated advice, normal aging myths, or convenient fast food habits steal your sight. The rust never sleeps, but neither does the body's ability to heal if you give it the right tools. I'm here to help you navigate the truth about your health. Don't let the rust win. Start the protocol today. Check out our other great video about Repair Your Vision, 3 foods that stop macular degeneration and cataracts, to dive even deeper into the science of sight preservation. I will see you there. Let's dive deeper into why the conventional wisdom about aging eyes is so fundamentally flawed. For decades, the medical establishment has operated under the assumption that the eye is simply a mechanical device that wears down with use, much like the tires on a car. They tell you that once the tread is gone, it's gone. But this analogy is biologically incorrect. Your body is not a car. It is a self-regenerating organism. The cells in your eyes are constantly turning over, constantly repairing, and constantly seeking the materials they need to rebuild themselves. The problem is not the mileage. The problem is the supply chain. Imagine trying to repair a brick wall, but the only materials you are given are wet cardboard and sugar. No matter how skilled the mason is, that wall will collapse. This is what is happening to your eyes on a cellular level. You are asking your body to repair the most complex, light-sensitive machinery in existence using processed grains, seed oils, and sugar. It is physically impossible for your body to build a healthy retina out of those materials. We have to change the supply chain. We have to provide the bricks, the mortar, and the sealant that the genetic blueprint of your eye demands. This is why I am so passionate about the protocol approach. This isn't about dieting, it's about construction. Let's talk about the physics of light for a moment, because this is the enemy we are fighting. In the natural world, before the invention of electricity, our eyes were exposed to a full spectrum of light from the sun. This included red light, infrared light, and UV light in a balanced ratio. But today, our environment has changed drastically. We are surrounded by artificial LED lighting and digital screens. These sources emit a very specific high-energy spike of blue light. This blue light is high frequency and short wavelength. In physics terms, shorter wavelengths carry more energy. When this high-energy blue light hits the back of your eye, it doesn't just bounce off. It penetrates deep into the retinal layers. It strikes the mitochondria, the power plants of your retinal cells. This collision causes the mitochondria to leak reactive oxygen species. It's like a nuclear reactor developing a leak. This radiation leakage causes oxidative stress that literally fries the cells from the inside out. The lutein and zeaxanthin we discussed earlier, they are the shielding. They absorb this specific wavelength of blue light before it hits the mitochondria. By increasing the density of this pigment in your eye, you are essentially installing a blast shield. Without it, you're walking into a radiation chamber naked every time you look at your smartphone or watch TV. I want to expand on the concept of drusen because it is critical you visualize this. When your ophthalmologist looks into your eye during an exam, they are looking for these yellow spots. Drusen is essentially cellular trash. It is composed of lipids, fats, and proteins that have been damaged by oxidation and not cleared away. Think of it like plaque on your teeth, but on your retina. Soft drusen is the early stage, like a warning shot. But if you ignore it, if you continue to eat inflammatory foods and starve your eyes of antioxidants, these deposits grow, they merge, they harden, they eventually disrupt the structural integrity of the retinal pigment epithelium, RPE. The RPE is the support layer that keeps your photoreceptors alive. If the RPE breaks down because of drusen buildup, the photoreceptors above it die. That is the moment you lose your central vision. That is the moment a face becomes a blur. We want to stop the drusen from forming in the first place, and we want to help the body clear out the soft deposits before they harden. This requires a robust lymphatic drainage system and a low inflammation diet. This is why the seed oils are such a villain in this story. Seed oils cause systemic inflammation, which paralyzes the body's cleanup crews. By removing the oils, you allow the cleanup crew to get back to work. Let's revisit the red pepper versus orange debate, because the nuance here is fascinating. It's not just about the sugar content, it's about the evolution of fruit. The oranges you buy in the supermarket today are not the oranges of 100 years ago. They have been selectively bred to be massive, incredibly sweet, and lower in fiber. They are essentially candy bars growing on trees. The sugar concentration is so high that it creates a massive insulin spike in your blood. Insulin is a storage hormone. When insulin is high, your body enters a storage mode, not a repair mode. Furthermore, high circulating insulin is inflammatory to the delicate blood vessels in the eye. The retina is fed by a network of microscopic capillaries. These are some of the tiniest blood vessels in the body. Chronic high insulin and high blood sugar damage these vessels, causing them to leak or burst. This is the mechanism behind diabetic retinopathy, but it affects everyone to some degree if they abuse sugar. The red bell pepper, on the other hand, is a vegetable fruit. It has not been hybridized for extreme sugar content. It retains its fiber matrix. It provides the vitamin C without the insulin spike, without the blood vessel damage, and without the competitive inhibition at the cell receptor. It is the smarter, more evolved choice for the modern human. Now, let's talk about the fat switch again, because I cannot stress this enough. I see so many well-intentioned people drinking green smoothies that are just spinach, water, and maybe a banana. They think they are being healthy, but let's look at the chemistry in the small intestine. When you eat fat, your gallbladder releases bile. Bile is a detergent. It emulsifies the fat, breaking it down into tiny droplets. These droplets form structures called micelles. The lutein and zeaxanthin from the spinach must be dissolved inside these micelles to be absorbed by the intestinal wall. Without bile, there are no micelles. Without micelles, the lutein cannot cross the intestinal wall. It just slides right past. By adding that tablespoon of butter or avocado oil, or eating your salad with a piece of fatty salmon, you are manually triggering the release of bile. You are unlocking the door. You are turning a 0% absorption rate into a 50 to 80% absorption rate. It is a simple chemical switch, but if you don't flip it, the machinery doesn't work. This is why low-fat diets are disastrous for eye health. Your eyes need fat. Your brain needs fat. Your hormones need fat. Do not fear the fat. Fear the source of the fat. Natural fats are the vehicle for life. Industrial fats are the vehicle for disease. I also want to address the omega-3 index. This is a blood test you can actually ask your doctor for. It measures the percentage of DHA and EPA in your red blood cell membranes. In Japan, where fish consumption is high, the average omega-3 index is often over 8%. In the United States and many Western countries, it is often below 4%. This is a deficiency epidemic. Studies have shown a direct correlation between a low omega-3 index and the risk of developing macular degeneration. If your index is low, your cell membranes are rigid, they are stiff. A stiff membrane cannot transmit signals efficiently. It is brittle and prone to breaking. By supplementing with high-quality fish oil or eating wild salmon, you are slowly replacing the rigid fats in your cell membranes with flexible, fluid DHA. It takes time. Red blood cells live for about 120 days, so you won't see changes overnight. But over the course of 3 to 4 months, you are literally rebuilding the architecture of your cells. You are making them flexible again. You are making them youthful again. This is why consistency is key. You are remodeling your house one brick at a time. Let's discuss the vegetable oil lie in more detail. How are these oils made? Take canola oil, for example. It starts as a seed. That seed is crushed. Then it is washed in a solvent called hexane, a component of gasoline, to extract the oil. Then, because the oil smells terrible and is dark, it is bleached. Then it is deodorized at high heat. This high heat processing oxidizes the oil before it even goes into the bottle. You are buying pre-damaged oil. When you cook with it, you damage it further. When you eat it, it incorporates into your tissues. Now imagine a photon of UV light hitting a cell membrane built out of this damaged, unstable oil. It's like a spark hitting dry tinder. It ignites. This is lipid peroxidation. It sets off a chain reaction that destroys the cell membrane and kills the cell. Now compare that to a cell membrane built out of saturated fat or monounsaturated fat, like olive oil. These fats are stable. They don't react with oxygen easily. The photon hits and the membrane holds. The structure remains intact. The difference between going blind and keeping your sight could literally come down to the stability of the fats you used to build your eye. This is why I call them liquid dynamite. They are sabotaging your structure from the inside. Finally, let's talk about the psychological aspect of this protocol. It is easy to feel overwhelmed. It is easy to feel like everything gives you cancer or everything is bad for you. That is not the message here. The message is empowerment. The message is that you have control. The standard medical model treats you as a passive victim of genetics and time. I am treating you as an active engineer of your own biology. Every time you choose the wild salmon over the burger, every time you choose the red pepper over the cookie, every time you choose the butter over the margarine, you are casting a vote for your vision. You are sending a chemical signal to your DNA to repair and protect. This is a powerful position to be in. You are not helpless. You are the CEO of your own health. The protocol I have laid out, the Macula Shield, the Lens Defender, the Retinal Resurrector, is your business plan for longevity. It is simple, it is based on hard science, and it is effective, but it requires execution. Knowledge without action is useless. You know the mechanism now. You understand the why. You know the enemy, oxidation, sugar, seed oils, and you know the allies, lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamin C, astaxanthin, DHA. The war for your vision is happening right now in every cell of your retina. The outcome depends on what you put on your fork at your next meal. Choose wisely. I want to leave you with one final visualization. Imagine your future self, 10 or 15 years from now. Imagine sitting on a porch, looking out at a sunset. Do you see the vibrant oranges and purples of the sky? Do you see the distinct leaves on the trees? Or do you see a gray, blurry haze? Imagine your grandchild running up to you holding a drawing they made. Can you see the details of the drawing? Can you see the expression in their eyes? This is what we are fighting for. We are not fighting for health in the abstract. We are fighting for these moments. We are fighting for the connection to the world that only vision can provide. The effort you put in today, the cooking, the shopping, the label reading, is the price of admission for that future sunset. It is a price worth paying. Do not let the convenience of processed food rob you of the beauty of the world. Take the reins, protect your fortress, and never, ever settle for the lie that decline is inevitable. It is not. You have the tools. Now go use them.